Thanks, everyone. I put pen to paper just to remember everything I want to say this morning. All right. Again, good morning, everyone, and thanks for taking your time to be here this morning. So, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and aspiring tech enthusiasts, it is with great pleasure and excitement, that I welcome you all to this, inaugural Tech Summit hosted by, Learn with Pride. So as the founder and CEO of our esteemed organization, it fills me with immense pride to see the vision come to fruition. Today marks a significant milestone in our journey towards empowering individuals to break barriers and forge new pathways in the world of technology. So with the theme, Breaking Barriers of Unemployment Through Tech, we have convened here in Lagos, Nigeria, to explore transformative power of technology in addressing one of the most pressing challenges of our time today. For over 4 years, Learn with Pride Limited has been at the forefront of providing practical trainings and support for individuals seeking to transition from non-IT backgrounds to lucrative and fulfilling careers in the tech industry. Our commitment to excellence and our unwavering belief in the potential of every individual has propelled us to this momentous occasion. Today, as we gather here, we are not just attendees of a conference, we are pioneers, innovators, and change makers. Together, we have the opportunity to redefine the narrative surrounding unemployment and to harness the power of technology to create a more inclusive and prosperous future for all. Throughout the course of this summit, we hear from esteemed speakers, industry experts, and thought leaders who will share their insight, experiences, and expertise on navigating the ever-evolving landscape of the tech industry. From discussion on emerging trends and technologies to practical workshops and networking opportunities, this summit is designed to equip you with the knowledge, skills, and resources needed to embark on your journey towards success in tech. But beyond the knowledge and skills that you will gain, I urge you to embrace the spirit of collaboration, community, and inclusivity that defines our organization. For it is through collective action and shared vision that we truly make a difference in the lives of individuals, families, and communities across Nigeria and beyond. So let us seize this opportunity and this moment. Let us embrace this opportunity and let us together break barriers, defy expectations, and unlock the boundless potential that lies within each and every one of us. Thank you for joining us today, and I wish you all a fruitful and inspiring summit. Thank you, everyone.
All right, so next on our agenda is the keynote speech by Oluwatayo Winkule.
A digital transformational leader, a tech consultant, and founder at Techlitis. You can do better. Put your hands together.
Thank you. Thank you, Kike. Good morning. It's a wonderful time to be alive. It's a wonderful time to be here also. My name is Oluwatayo, and I am what they said. So today, I'm happy we're having these conversations around how to navigate unemployment challenges in today's world. I mean, we cannot kid ourselves anymore. We're already in the mix of where machines are typically already taking or seemingly taking our jobs. So we're at that junction today where we find the blend between human aspirations and what technology can do for us. So does this necessarily mean that we're set up for doom? No. There is a lot more benefit, or there's a lot more value that can come out of that. So yes, while we're at that junction, where we're trying to balance human aspirations, I mean, you and I want financial stability. You and I want work-life balance. You and I want to find our purpose. we want a lot of things out of life, and the machine is coming. By machine, I mean tech has basically evolved, and it's still evolving. It's coming to say, I can do this better. I can make decisions for you. I mean, the other day I was looking at a media on Twitter where the AI was the one chairing the meeting, that is asking for updates during stand-ups, and I'm like, so last now, all the founder, I'm a CEO, it's an AI that can even take that particular job, right? But how do we strike a balance between this? Because, of course, we probably have seen news on the internet where people are, wondering if AI would take their jobs. I mean, if you're a cleaner, you would see a robot that can do the job better, and you're wondering, so where do I stand, right? If you used to be a pilot and you are a newscaster that used to cover, that used to cover in air, now we have drones doing that effectively well and even in a neater manner. So the questions are, is it that I'm not going to be having my job anymore? So we've seen those questions, those worries. It's almost everywhere, and everybody's saying artificial intelligence can do this. Content writers are worrying because the ChatGPT is, seemingly doing a great and fantastic job. So those are questions that everybody is asking, right? We now see Sora doing fantastic videos and film producers are wondering, okay, am I losing my job soon? We see fantastic things happening, and we're trying to see, okay, where do we find a balance between what the machine or what technology can do for us and what we as humans can also do. So briefly, let's look at statistics when it comes to unemployment figures. Currently, in line with what NBS churned out as of Q3 2023, unemployment rate stood at 5%. Of course, they've already perfected the guidelines for measuring unemployment compared to what it used to be in 2021 with the old guidelines, where unemployment was standing at 3% thereabout. So we see unemployment unemployment rate standing at 5%. Of course, this particularly takes into consideration inactive people, underemployed people, and totally unemployed people, right? And again, this isn't happening only in Nigeria. It's a global pandemic because even across the US, the EUs, and other major economies, we see that almost 850 million people are also unemployed. Of course, also represent inactive, underemployed, and unemployed people. So it calls for alarm, so to speak. However, how can we then find a balance where you're so gainfully employed or you're so gainfully doing something meaningful while you're professionals or while you're chasing your life's purpose, right? So I'll just share like three guidelines, and I'm looking forward to hearing every other person, on the panel, and a lot more activities that have been put together today, so that we can have a full understanding of how we can navigate unemployment challenges in the digital era. So, of course, maybe you've heard this word reskilling and upskilling. You've probably heard it like a billion times, right? One of the things you have to do is to reskill, to upskill, and it's totally fantastic. How does reskilling and upskilling help us to navigate unemployment challenges? Typically, I like to tell my story, but I will not bore us. I promise. I would make it very short and simple. Reskilling, as the word implies, you're basically moving from one skill to another completely. So you used to be an accountant or a bookkeeper, and you now realize that there are a lot more softwares that can do this effectively well. So you would necessarily want to probably reskill and do something else entirely out of that. So in my case, I used to be a salesperson at the bank. I started my career as a sales and marketing professional. That's what we call it, but not lie. I was a proper salesperson, look for accounts, look for deposits. I loved the job at the time. However, there's something that comes within, tech is coming, I need another skill. Can I transfer marketing skill, or can I do sales skill in another economy? I just wanted more, right? So basically for me then was reskilling from being a salesperson to becoming a data analyst. So that was reskilling. Now, so that is the basic definition of reskilling. That's one way that we can navigate unemployment. So reskilling for me, and then upskilling would naturally mean you're still in the same domain. However, there are new or emerging things that are happening that you really need to learn about. So let's take, for example, you're a product manager, right? You've trained, you're a product manager, you're practicing, and I mean, in the wake of 2020, so that was when we started learning about ChatGPT, right? So such a product manager can be something like, how do you leverage artificial intelligence to perfect your product requirement document? How do you leverage artificial intelligence to understand user behavior analytics? How do you leverage artificial intelligence to understand predictive analytics? I mean, there's a lot more to do. So that will be upskilling. So which means that even if you think you're in tech, or if you're in tech today, it's not enough to say, I'm in tech, I'm safe, right? It's more of constant learning, continuous learning. You also want to be in a place where you understand what is going on per time. So the other thing that we can do to navigate unemployment challenges in this era is having an human-centric design. So tech in its own place is supposed to enhance our life of live, or enhance the quality of life we live. That is, it's basically supposed to contribute to more innovation, economic growth, and not to replace us as humans. So, which means that, and this goes to everybody who's aspiring to be a tech professional and people who already are tech professionals, whatsoever systems we're building, let's consciously have human-centric design in the middle of it, right? Human-centric in the sense that you're giving, whether you like it or not, the machine cannot do these things by themselves. We also still have to think of it as it is we humans that will be able to give these instructions to the machine. So the last one that I have on my note here is inclusive growth. So what does inclusive growth mean? It basically means we all cannot work in isolation, and we necessarily need to carry every stakeholder along. By stakeholder right now, it means every party in the society. The women, the minority, or the underrepresented people, we have to carry them along. And also the other individuals that these emerging technologies are going to, what's it called now? Let's create a social net for them. So there are people who are definitely going to lose their job due to technology, right? So can we create a social net or a safety net for them, being that, oh, now that you are about, or you are most likely, let's make the transitioning easy. So you used to be a cleaner. Should we now leverage your skill to be, do you want to now become somebody that can train a robot, or that can provide enough data, or that can provide enough guidance? Let's train this robot to be able to do the specific things, right? Let's make the transition easy for these people too. So those are the things that would be contained, or that would consist of inclusive growth. So in general, I would just like to encourage us today, whether we like it or not, technology is in our face, and the future of work that we used to think maybe 4 or 5 years back, we probably used to think is 2030. Thanks to COVID-19, everything got accelerated, and it's right here in our faces. That is, we are already living the future of work. So, so every avenue that we have to be able to match the pace at which technology is growing, let's give it to it. We've talked about upskilling, we've talked about reskilling, and also we've seen the way gig workers, or even employees right now, professionals, they are choosing to work. Today, you hear of people who prefer to freelance than to say a 9 to 5. In some cases, I typically tell people there are times that the job will not come to you. You have to be the one to go find it, or just be able to, pitch yourself to say, oh, I have this value, I've noticed, or I've identified this problem with your business, I've identified this problem here and there, and I want to be able to help you solve it. So freelancing is also another way to tackle unemployment. So thank you so much for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm happy to hear every other person on the panel and every other person on the speaker today, and we will have a good time, I believe so. Thank you so much, Kike and Yemi.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for Oluwatayo Winkole as she goes to our seat. To our next session, we have some very loaded profile here. I won't be reading profiles. I will let the moderator undo that when they, go to their seats. Many of us have seen them at several events. We have something around navigating entrepreneurial paths, startups and innovation in the IT sector. This is a particular field that I'm very, very interested in. So I'm going to be listening, soaking in everything they're saying. And of course, I'll put my question somewhere because if you don't ask questions, you might not know all of the things you need to know. So get your books, get your pen, note the questions down as they are speaking. And of course, you will have the opportunity to ask them. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we bring on stage a very delectable personality in Dr. Akeem Onosoya. Please put your hands together. Also, joining Dr. Akeem on stage will be Kema Onoa, Head of Trainings, Elvarida Limited. Please, could you also join up and say, please put your hands together for Kema Onoa to moderate this, segment is my co-host. Please put your hands together for Kikelomo Owoyale. So she'll be reading, the profiles, the great profiles that they have. And of course, she will take you through the journey. And of course, the questions and the answers that you require to learn the best way. Please, Kike, take over.
So today, we'll be discussing navigating entrepreneurial paths, startups and innovation in the IT sector. This panel session is led by Dr. Akeem and moderated by myself, with Kemal also contributing to the conversation. So I'd start with Dr. Kemal. Sir, could you share your personal journey and experiences that led you to your role as the head of startup team at Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, and also valuable points that the audience should also take out from that personal journey?
Okay, thank you very much. So you said Dr. Kemal, so I'm sure he was confused when
sorry.
he went to medical school, and I was also confused too.
So sorry,
Okay.
Dr. Akeem.
So just to be clear, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the organizers, apologies for bringing you out on a Saturday morning because we all have cousins and aunties getting married today, but we decided to be here. Thank you very much. So a part of my profile that she didn't include was that in my former life, I trained as a doctor at the College of Medicine, University of Lagos, and I've had an interesting transition to where I am today. So I said that because career is not static. The keynote speaker said that she started her career with sales in the banking space, and now she's pivoted completely, which also reinforces the fact that what you studied in school, what you got a first class in, is not stamped on your head to be what you would eventually do. You're allowed to pivot at any point. Confuse your village people. Let them think you graduated with this and you're doing this. My parents are still confused. Why did you spend 7+ years in medical school? You don't even use the title again. I'm like, well, I'm allowed. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, what then influenced my career path till now has been solving a problem. And I would say that, how many of us know loot in Idi Araba here? How many of us like loot in Idi Araba here? Aha. That explains why I did not practice. Now, people don't like government hospitals, but interestingly, it's the same guys you see at the government hospitals are the same guys you see at the private hospitals. Sometimes, and for those that jackpot, the same guys that treated you at the hospital on Friday have jackpot via PLAB 1, PLAB 2, and the same guys you will meet at NHS in the UK, and you're like, so what the difference has always been management of that establishment, and which is what I was interested in, which is why I said I wasn't going to practice at some point. So did my courses in management, and I worked with Reliance HMO very early on, and I got to understand the cardinal difference between health insurance and car insurance. Who wants to help with the difference? Health insurance and car insurance. Why do we have almost everybody in Lagos with car insurance, and we are still begging our people to buy health insurance? Who wants to help? There's no right or wrong answer, sorry. This is not SAC class, so you can say what you think it is. Who wants to help? Okay, please come forward. Sorry, it's a panel session, Abi, but I will change it. Please come. What do you think it is? Can she get a mic? If there's a mic in the audience, or you can, if you think you can project. Okay, mic is coming.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I can only say a little. No right or wrong answers. Okay, for car insurance, there are two types. There's the third party
And there's
and
the
there's the
comprehensive.
comprehensive insurance. Now, for car insurance, it covers solemnly the car, while health insurance covers you as a person.
As a person.
Your third party insurance covers the third
The
party.
person that you hit.
Yes, you that hit someone, you're the first party. The insurance company is the second party. While the person you hit is the third party. That's
True.
why it's third party insurance. So whatever accident that happens, when you have a policy with third party insurance, it covers just that
Third
person's
party
car
and not your car.
and not your car.
Okay.
It doesn't cover you as a person. It doesn't cover the third party as a person. It covers just
Only
the car.
the vehicle.
Why the health insurance covers you as a person.
Yeah. Thank you very much. The cardinal reason why we keep begging you to buy health insurance and nobody begs you to buy car insurance is because of policy. Car insurance is compulsory. And someone out there on the road is wearing uniform and is going to ask you where your car insurance papers is. But how many of you have ever been asked to show your health insurance papers in traffic? Or police catch you and say health insurance and you say you don't have, they say park. No. So it was that headache that then made me decide to go into policy school and learn how this is done. Why do we have certain things happening the way they happen? And then transition. When I came back, I then did the pivoting thing again, which is what I've understood with tertiary education. Now, I many of us know that people go and study, history and artifacts in the UK. People spend their hard-earned money to study history and artifacts. Some of them end up in finance. Some of them become, investment professionals. That's because the background of tertiary education is not to make you a professional as such. It's supposed to make you someone who can think and someone who can solve problems. What you do with that is totally dependent on you, which explains why people transition to tech skills. I know doctors who are MDs of investment banks. I know engineers who are now building apps. So it's just to open the mind and understand that where you're coming from, where you're going are two different things. So came back to Nigeria and I was like, well, I've always been a doctor. I'm always a doctor. I can always go back into the healthcare space if I want, but can I do something different? Can I thrive in another space entirely? And then I said, let me join the Employment Trust Fund in the policy and impact space. And I've been there 3+ years and they've not sacked me, so it means I'm not doing a bad job and the likes. And then at some point, I haven't worked in a startup. I worked in Reliance and I understood what it means to run a startup. The least thing you need, the easiest thing to have as a founder is the idea. You think it's difficult? Have the idea first. You will not say that is the easiest part. The support you need, even funding is not as difficult as building the product. When you build a product and you build it well, you shouldn't have issues with funding if you have your customers. But if you don't have that sustainable system from converting that idea into a product, running it into a successful enterprise, knowing when to raise funds, knowing when to exit, knowing when to pivot, the startup would die as fast as it came to life. And it was that experience working with one that then made me transition to lead the startups unit. And it's been over 18 months doing that and supporting startups across Lagos. So I think the core of my answer is the future is not static. The future is changing almost every second. We need to disabuse ourselves from whatever we spent 4 years and ASU strike studying in university, the kind of projects that we did, the kind of projects we defended at our final year, and be willing to flow with the times. Be willing to ask yourself what you would love doing. And some of us have the greatest headache, or what are we going to tell our parents? Tell them the truth. If you want Sakwa to kill you, let me stay where I am. If you want money, allow me to pivot. And they will allow you pivot. Because eventually what they want is success for their kids. What they want is success for their children. What they don't want is for you to stay in a place and they really want to feed you. So you're allowed to pivot. And technology has a beautiful role because it is not a structured or a very licensed field. You can't just decide that you studied banking and you want to start treating patients in the hospital. You will land in jail in 2 months. Why? Because there is a structure. You must get this license. But as of today, technology does not have that. So you can sit in your room, you can watch YouTube videos, you can go on Coursera, and you can become a UI UX developer in 6 months. Even lesser than 6 months, depending on your interest. And that is exactly what demystified technology. In the next few years, you might now begin to talk about licenses because technology now has impact on people's lives and they want to be sure that you can handle it. But before we get there, you are allowed to look at any of the sectors that either affect you personally or even what you call it, even keys into your passion. My younger brother studied agriculture in university. He's a UI UX guy today. Why? Because he loves designing. He just likes designing. And he went online himself, learned UI UX on YouTube, watched videos, turned Twitter to his marketplace. And now he has forgotten that he ever went to university. And for the tech bros here, how many of you have been told to drop your CV to get a tech role? Or how many of you have been asked, did you learn this in computer science? No. How many computer science grads? You even have more non-computer science grads in the tech space than computer science grads because of the ease of transition. So I think in general is that fluidity of career, that fluidity of decision making, and the fact that technology makes it exceptionally easy.
That's an interesting take. So what I've learned is that you're allowed to explore. Your degree does not define you. Don't be scared of what people would say. It's actually your life. You're allowed to pivot. You're allowed to pivot. All right. So you're allowed to pivot. Don't be scared of what others would say. Your parents would be proud of you at the end of the day. And also, you mentioned that career is not static. Thank you so much. All right. Moving to Kemal. Can you also share with us your journey to the point of becoming the head of trainings at your current organization and the key points that the audience should take?
Okay, good morning, everyone. So I'll say that my career or my journey to where I am at the moment started back from secondary school, right? So, then we were newly, introduced to the Aspire to Refire thingy, all right? So I was in SS3 and then I met the man, Fela Durotoye, and I was like, whoa, I want to be like this, all right? And then, fortunately for me, spent 5 years in school studying chemical engineering, and I was struggling. So I came out and my father was like, okay, so what do you want to do with your life now? And I said, consulting. I was like, what is consulting? And so he said, okay, what school would you go to study consulting? I didn't know. And so the only place I knew at the time was Daystar Leadership Academy. And so I said, Daystar Leadership Academy. I enrolled, and after that time, I started working, I interned in a consulting firm where I learned how to train. I learned the basics of HR management and all that. And then I transitioned into another business management firm. And so from there, I moved into sales and marketing. And from there, I moved back into consulting, where by then I already learned and I already started practicing with the little things I learned over time. How to write business plans, proposals, how to handle trainings and all that. And so I think it was in 2020, I was doing my own thing, and then COVID happened, and then there was a whole lot of struggle, and then I had to find my way back into 9 to 5, where I found myself in the tech space, worked in an organization that's trying to build a retail product, like e-commerce product. And so we did all that as sales executive, grew the business, and again, I was like, targets and all that, it was just a nightmare for me. So why not just do what I like to do? Yes, I love sales, but I'm not under any pressure if I'm doing consulting. I'm still providing solution. And so that's how I found myself into Elva Reader as head of trainings and head of the academy. All right, so the takeout for me there is you understanding what you want. do a SWOT analysis on yourself as to what do I really want? What am I passionate about? What am I fit for? All right? And then, in between all that journey, I found that I also passionate about businesses, and then I found that we do not have so many businesses in Nigeria that had lived beyond their owners. And most of the businesses we have at the moment was built from a place of survival. All right? Either you got fired from a job and you feel like, oh, I need to start something because I was there also. But beyond survival, there is more. If you check other countries, you check Apple, the founder of Apple is gone, but Apple is still running. The founder of Coca-Cola is gone, but it's still running. So when would we have institutions like that in Africa? And so that is why you see me, I'm always all out trying to pour knowledge, trying to help businesses as much as possible so that we can have a whole lot of businesses that can live outside of their founders. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. All right, so the takeaway from that is it also aligns with what Dr. Akim has said, that your degree does not define you. You can see that from his journey, he was a chemical engineer. He graduated and pursued his passion, which is consulting. And then he pivoted into sales and said that, no, this is not for me. Then he went back into consulting. He also made mention of a very vital point that businesses should be built to actually last, not just because, oh, I need to make money. Are you thinking about the solution you're preferring to that problem, and can it actually last longer than its founder? All right, so we'll be moving on to the next question. This is for Dr. Akim. Sir, in what ways is LSETF actively contributing to fostering innovation within the African context? Can you also provide examples of initiatives or programs that have had a significant impact?
Okay, thank you very, very much. So I was glad when you said you studied chemical engineering and you're not using it, so we are on the same page. You went to school, they paid our school fees, and we did not use it. So, sure, you want to chop knuckle? So, yeah, the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund is an agency of the government that its cardinal objective is to reduce unemployment in Lagos. But the beautiful thing about Lagos is that Lagos imports unemployment. And we can put that blame solely on African Magic. I will explain. Now, for those that watch African Magic, there's always a scene where one big man goes home with a jeep. He gets to the town hall and he sprays money, and the king comes out and hugs him. Oh, my son. And then when he's going back, one woman with wrapper will carry one small boy to him and say, Oga, take my son with you to
Lagos.
And the boy goes to Lagos, and they'll now see one black screen where they put 3 years after. And that boy goes back to where? His village with the same big car, and the circle continues. And how come it's always Lagos? They never use Enugu, they never use Sana. It's always Lagos. Which shows that it's a lot of opportunities, which means that people leave. So it's also the way people jackpot from Nigeria. People also jackpot to Lagos. If our fathers did not jackpot to Lagos, we would have been born in the village. We too would have been doing village things and be doing reels in the village. So because of that, Lagos needs to create more jobs than the population that is coming in. The fastest way to create jobs is 2 ways. One, support the businesses who are already creating jobs. Now, supporting them means access to capital and access to business support. For every small business, there are two kinds of businesses. There is the homestead business and there is a scalable enterprise. The homestead businesses are businesses that were created, just like you said, to fight unemployment. That is why some of you finish from the universities, have your own side hustles, selling things online, selling things on Instagram, and your parents are still praying for you to get a job. And you're telling them that, okay, but I'm making money. They're like, no. If you don't have a job, ideally you're not a responsible member of the society. So most people go into entrepreneurship because they don't have nothing to do yet. Now, the problem with that mentality is that you don't see yourself contributing to the economy of your country. You are doing it to pay your rent, buy a new phone, and that is all. The only time you want to employ somebody else is when your cousin says, okay, I'm done with school and boss is at home. Yeah, come and join me, come and join me. Then he joins you. Then when you say something, you give him 25K. He's like, okay, thank you. That's all. And there is the scalable enterprises, which are businesses that come out to solve a problem, and there are also businesses that are willing to scale. Dangote is a scalable enterprise because Dangote employs thousands of people, contributes to the economy of Nigeria, started from cement, now it's in oil. The question is, we need to create more scalable enterprises in Lagos so that we can create jobs for people that are coming into Lagos. The reason why our cousins and aunties or friends would travel abroad and in 3 months say they have a job and they're sending money back home to buy a land in Ekpe and Ikorodu, it's not because they got there and started working with Bank of England or they got and started working with HSBC. They got there and got a job with a small business owner that needs an extra hand. And that is how they create jobs. So in doing that is supporting businesses with very low interest loans. The MPR today is 24.75. What it means is that the banks get capital from the CBN at the rate of 24.75%. Now, they are going to layer their operations cost on it. They're also going to layer their risk, their credit risk analysis on that, which means that they would then be giving loans to people at what percent? At least 30-35%. Now, that is if you're lucky to get from the commercial banks directly. If the microfinance banks will get their capital from commercial banks at 30%, they will also layer their operations costs, layer your default rate, and then give us about 40-50%, which is why they give you loans at 5-6% per month. Now, what it means is that how many businesses in Nigeria actually make 50-60% profit in a year? Consider you have to buy your diesel, buy your fuel. So the question is, someone needs to give those small businesses a very affordable source of capital. And that is where the Employment Trust Fund comes in. We support small businesses with loans from 20K to as high as 50 million. Sorry, as high as 5 million. Don't go, 5 million. So 5, it was a mistake. 5 million. And the rate is at 9% per year. 9%. Not per month. I'm sure some MFBs do it at even per month. Because the question is, we need you to be able to expand. So that when you expand, you will need an accountant. You will need a salesperson. You will need someone to sit in the shop. Now, that is how employment is created. Now, the next thing is, as Lagos imports unemployment, we are also giving our jobs away. Who are the best guys that do POP in Lagos? Nigerians or Togolese or Beninans? Huh? Beninans and Togolese. There's a problem. We have unemployment in Lagos. Yet, when we have jobs to give out, we give out to people that are not from or do not even live in Lagos. So it means that we need to fill that gap in blue-collar jobs. Everybody wants to wear white shirt and go to the bank. Everybody wants to report to a company at 9 to 5. But that is not where the highest amount of jobs are going to be created. Freelancing, blue-collar jobs are exceptional. It's basically a blue ocean. But nobody is training for that. Now, when you hear an artisan, what comes to your mind is an illiterate guy that's going to lie to you, is going to spoil your appliance, and you eventually pay him money. No, you just, and if it's an artisan that comes to tell you, oh, your fridge is bad, but I think it's the voltage at this point. I think you should decrease your voltage. And when you're done, you have to schedule a 3-4 months maintenance at this level. Won't you be shocked? You'll be shocked because what you want to hear is Ekpa, Eton, Ekpa, Eton. Capretoni. Oti Jono, 35,000. Owoshe, 10,000. But we need to, because the question is, it's also not helping us maintain our things in Lagos. So we need to plug in those areas and train people creatively and professionally in those areas. Why do you think our cousins and aunties abroad send their TVs that are bad to Nigeria, fix it and it starts working? Why? Because it's more expensive to fix a TV than to buy a new one. You would rather buy a new one than to go and fix it. Because if you call a plumber in the UK to come and check your bad pipes, he will collect consultation fee. Start. Bratayo, Otibeo, he will not come. Amarami, 2x4. 35 meters, 10,000. No. Ideally, they're supposed to come, diagnose the problem, and you pay for that. And if you decide to now go and do the solution yourself, you've not wasted their time. They've gotten the solution. So we need those kind of professionals across our blue-collar economy. And that is what the LSTF is doing. We're training people across those sectors, from fashion to masonry to plumbing to design, so that we can have people that you can actually engage with at your level, and people that will not spoil or even complicate your problems. And when they are done, what we then do is the best of them, we give them startup tools. So, okay, you're done. Take this. So you've learned tailoring, you've learned design, but you need to start. If you come out tops in your class, we give you a machine. Take and go and start, so that you don't have what you ordered versus what you see, their customers are plenty here. You've given online vendors and spoiled your material. And like, so we do that for them so that they're able to do that. Now, the next thing, apart from those two things, so with that, we've closed the demand from, so we've supported businesses to create jobs, and we've also trained people that they will eventually employ. The last intervention is what we do for the tech ecosystem. The beauty of living abroad or not being Nigerian is that internet and electricity is a human right abroad. Light is a thing, except if you are in band A and you are now paying 225 kilowatts per hour. Light is standard. Internet abroad, even at the shopping mall, even at the bus park, you can connect to the Wi-Fi. Public is not your hala, whether you want to connect to the public Wi-Fi or not. But in Nigeria, it is not a human right. It is still luxury. And that is why the people the initial guys in the ecosystem were guys that came from the UK, US, and relocated back home. They were guys from the island because they could afford it at that point. How many of the early stage founders in Lagos came from Mushi? How many of the very early stage founders that have built stuff today was residing in Abule Egba and Limosho? Because the higher class lived on the island, Yaba and above. They were able to afford these things. They could buy internet in their houses. Their parents could afford it. Which means that if you can eliminate access to electricity, the issues with electricity and internet for founders, we can catalyze growth of innovation. That's why we have what we call the workspace voucher. So if you're a founder and you're building stuff, you apply. If you apply, what we do is we give you a voucher for between 3 months to a year. What it then means is that if you give you a 3-month voucher, you can walk into any of our partner hubs in Lagos, present that voucher to them, and you sit down for 3 months, and we'll pay for you. So pay for you is now relative. So if to pay for a month in workstation costs you about 30,000 naira, and you get a voucher of 25k, how much are you going to pay? Just 5k, and you use the facilities like it's your own for 3 months. You can get it for 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. And we've had companies. How many of us know Utiva? Utiva was one of our beneficiaries. He got a voucher for 1 year. So for 1 year, we paid this in a workspace. Just keep building and keep solving. Detalium, the same thing. And for us, we've taken that burden of an office space, that burden of internet, that burden of electricity, so you can keep building. And from inception to date, we've issued over 520 vouchers to startups across Lagos. The next thing that we do is we have an incubation program. Like I said, the easiest thing to do is the idea. Anybody can say, this event now, what if someone from Cameroon wants to join? I'll create an AI-backed product. You can talk, they will listen. It's in everybody's head. And I'm sure some of you will go on social media, and the idea that you had in your head, you were thinking you were going to develop, somebody has built it, has developed it, and you're wondering, so maybe only me get the idea. But the question is, how do you turn your ideas into a full-fledged startup and build a minimum viable product out of it? We have an incubation program where we do 2 things for you. We pair you with a mentor who is going to hold your hand and share their experiences with you, what to do, what not to do, when to do certain things. And we also take you through classes. What is a startup in the first place? Some people confuse is an SME with a startup. They're 2 completely different things. Not everybody knows that. How do you run your operations? How do you run your finances? How are you investment ready? So we do that. That's the second intervention. The third thing we also do is to train people. So we understand that people want to pivot into technology. We understand that that is also a place where we can create jobs exponentially. And the cost of training is also huge. So we partner with training providers and then train people across board. Presently, we are training people in Java, Linux, cybersecurity, data science at mid-level, free of charge. They're not paying a cover, because the question is, we're able to remove that barrier, which is your interest is what we need. Go in there, get trained. When you get a job, you improve the economy of Lagos. Why? You pay taxes. Bam. You have extra money. You go and buy stuffs at the supermarket. They charge you VAT. That's revenue for government. And if you buy a car and you don't stop for traffic lights and they charge you a levy, it's still economy for Lagos State. It's still income because now you don't do traffic lights. And the last thing is our support for hubs and workspaces. Because you understand that hubs and workspaces also need to do more. When Mark Zuckerberg came to Lagos, where did he go to? He went to a hub, CC hub. He's not going to come to anybody's house. But we need these hubs to do more. We need these hubs to be able to have stronger internet, be able to purchase Starlink for their people. But they cannot go and collect the 40% interest rate per year loan from the banks because hubs run a different business model. They run a workspace model where you pay rent to sit down, but they also support startups by running venture studios where they can support you. And when you exit or when you raise, they can get their money back. But running startups is almost like entertainment. For those that have that want to do music, when a manager brings you in, you meet that there are 4 other people of you who are singing. The prayer is that one person will blow. And when the one person blows, the money they make from him is what they use to give all of you afternoon food and give you nice cars to the club. And when he goes, you also will blow. So the question is, you don't assume that every talent in your pool will eventually make it out. But at least 1 or 2 would do that. At least Banky W had Wizkid had skills. Wizkid blew, he was able to cash out from Wizkid and take care of the remaining. Olamide does the same thing. And that's what happens even with founders. When you are in a hub, they support you to ensure that you eventually scale and exit, but at different times. But the one that does, from stake in that startup, they're able to get money when they exit to support the remaining startups at their infancy. And we support them 9% interest rate loan. So as a hub, you can get a loan from us up to almost 30 million, and you can get Starlink in your hub. You can get more chairs. You can even rent a different place and continue expanding. Why? So that startup founders can have a place to sit and they can have an environment that sparks innovation. So all of this is what we do, and what we then tell Lagos residents is the least thing you just need to have is just the interest. You want to start a business that is non-tech, we can support you with loan facilities. You want to learn skills, we can support you in training. You want to be a tech founder, we can take you from idea to incubation. When you're done, we give you a voucher, you keep building till you're done, so that you can create jobs for people of Lagos. So that when that Emeka comes, or when that Kabiru leaves the north and comes to Lagos, he can get a job from your different enterprises. Thank you.
Okay, I know that in the mind of people, they are thinking, oh, how can I apply for this 30 million naira loan? You and me both. All right, sir. So for those that want to apply for the training, those that want to apply for the funding, what do they do? Can you give them a quick guideline?
You know, this is when I remember that Channel's interview. www.lsetf.ng. That is the answer. Everything I've said can be gotten there. lsetf.ng, but I won't ask my guy at the top. Yeah.
I can see lots of people pressing their phone already. Okay, just make sure that you pay your tithes when you get those funds. All right, so from what he has said, Lagos State government, through the organization, is creating jobs, training people, providing electricity and internet, vouchers. They also have a venture studio program. And yes, so they are making social impact through the organization. All right, to you, sir. I'd be asking this last question because of time. Kemal, what specific skills and expertise should startups prioritize when assembling their founding team for success?
Okay, so this question is a bit tough, but I would use a live scenario use case. So currently I'm working with someone who is trying to, start up, building something very unusual. And then he asked me the same question and he wanted me to be on the board. I said, see, one, beyond skills, you need to get people that will be loyal to you. I would like to start from there. Beyond skills. Skills is good, but you need people who would be loyal to you, because as the business grows, people begin to change. People begin to show their real colors. Now you are bootstrapping. It feels like, oh, you're in bed with this person. But when you make your major big hit, you see you raise about 2,000 200,000 USD, and then you see that this same partner of yours or this same team member of yours is showing you a different side of themselves. All right. So first things first, get people who can be loyal to you, and then we can now move to competency, because you need people who are competent enough and people who would be audacious to look at you in the eyes and call you to order. I've seen so many startup founders lose sight of the big picture when they got funding, all right? So you need people who are not just loyal, who are not just competent, but people who will look at you in the face and tell you, you are not doing this right. You are losing the ball, all right? So these are some of the things, and then look at your core values. What kind of core values do you want to build in the culture of the organization you're building? Do these people have the same value system with you? Do they have the same picture of the vision? Let me not even do Aspire to Fire now. So they say a picture you cannot future, you cannot, a vision or a future you cannot picture, you cannot feature. So if they cannot picture the future with you, don't feature them. I thought someone was going to clap. You think it's easy to rhyme, Avi? So the thing is, beyond all that, you need to get people that would go with you through thick and thin, all right? And they have the same value systems with you. And they also have the big picture in mind. It's not just stomach infrastructure. It's not just for us to build, make money, and begin to live the big boy life. It's for us to build something beyond us, something that even when we are gone. I like what Dangote said during Wigwe's service. He said, when we are all gone, we want something to be remembered for. And so if these guys do not have the same vision with you or do not think in that light, please do not bring them on board. Because when the chips are down, you begin to have issues. You begin to have clashes. And then if they have a money problem. So I left the partnership because of this money problem. So you need to be able to be sensitive enough to know. So I got into partnership with somebody who had a very bad spending habit. And so when the chips were down, we were making money, but he was spending recklessly. And so I had to call it quit. All right, so I'm not there to build for the money alone. I want to build something that even when I'm gone, it will still stand. So these are some of the things that you need to look out for in choosing your team members.
All right. I think one thing that stands out for me is the...
Sorry. Can I add something?
Sure.
Especially if you're building for the long haul. Building and finding people to work with you is almost like finding a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or even a spouse. Because interestingly, just the way you spend most of your waking hours with your colleagues at work, you spend majority of your life with your partner or even your employees as a founder. The hardest place to work as an employee is in a startup. Structured 9 to 5, there is opening time and there is closing time. In a startup, the only thing you know is opening time. Closing time is when you resign. Because 11 p.m. can just call you, hello, the app is down. Brother, I am sleeping. You cannot sleep. Someone wants to pay 1.5. You cannot pay. You are back to your laptop. So that kind of relationship, you have to be as selective in choosing. And like he said, skill is important. But as a founder, as a startup, you don't have the money for the kind of skill that you really envision. What you need is someone that has the same drive as you are. Someone that understands why we are doing this. And that is why some founders will say, even if I cannot pay you as much, I'll give you some equity because I need you to be on the table. So, and even from an employee point of view, even from someone who wants to work in the startup someday, what you need to show that founder, what you need to show that employer is sharing the same passion with them. Because interestingly, in organizations that are structured, if you work in multinationals and banks, what they write on your offer letter is what you do. If you work in the startup, what they put on the offer letter, don't tear it when you're entering. Because you are doing entirely different. You will enter as customer service, you will do HR, you will do admin. And God will not catch you, you will not have accounting background. They say, quickly do small finance. Salary remains the same. You are victims here. But the only thing that makes you keep doing all of that is the passion for that goal. And those are the kind of people that founders are looking for. The people that are working in Paystack today, when Paystack was recruiting, it wasn't like this. It was just one guy in a room saying he wants to revolutionize payments in Nigeria. People joined him. Now, those guys are balling. As Paystack comfortable employees, you can start to work from Dubai for 1 year, and they'll keep paying you. But at the point where you joined, it was more of, I keyed into this vision, and I can. And also goes to founders in the room. For employees who have been with you from day one, do not, for the sake of, I need that big guy from the multinational, then discard the guys that were with you from the beginning. That is clearly betrayal. And that's why polygamy is bad. A woman will be like, I deal with you when money no day. When we're living in one room apartment, you now collect contract, you don't blow. You're not going to find one fair complexion girl, marry a second wife. You will pay them. So yes, at some point in the growth of a startup, you need quality guys. You need to poach guys from multinationals. You need to poach guys from competitors. But don't forget those guys that were with you when you were still sharing one extension socket. When you were still resuming in their house in Mushin with the vibe of what you call it, of building. And over time, like I said, you then acquire those skills. And finally is understand why you are building as a founder. That's why it's always big at first. Even it can be scary. Now, if Paystack tell anybody that I want to revolutionize payments in Africa, they look at him like, okay, are you normal? I've even done in Lagos. But as he goes along, that dreams becomes achievable. So ask yourself, if that dream is just to solve it within your friends and your small circle, when you get there, what happens? But what drives founders, what drives Dangote is, I don't think he has achieved his dream yet. That's why he's in oil. Tomorrow morning, if that guy goes into airline, don't blame him. Because I'm sure that is something that he's pushing, that is beyond him themselves. And when you do that, it helps you to keep being innovative. Because you keep asking yourself, what's next? You set a small dream, you achieve it, then you're complacent. Thank you.
All right. Beautiful contribution. So the takeaway from this particular question is that loyalty is very important when you are picking your co-founders, competency, and also ensure that you are partnering with those that can correct you. But my own addition to that is that aside partnering with those that can correct you, do you also want to be corrected? Because there are founders that say, nah, I have the final say, it's my dream, it's my vision. Do you want to be corrected as well? And also ensure that you have those that share the same core values with you. And Dr. Hakeem mentioned that don't discard those who were with you from day one and understand why you're building, because that would be the constant drive that will take you to your finish line. All right. I think at this point, we just want to have a submission from our panel speakers, something to round up this conversation. Advice to founders, advice to those that are tech experts or tech enthusiasts, advice generally to them. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I would like to round off with this. First, I'll say that don't let money be the drive. I like the way everybody's quiet. Don't let money be the drive. Now, the truth is, with my years of working with startups, I've seen that too many of them, especially young guys in tech, too many of them lose focus on the goal when money comes in. Too many of them. They lose focus when money comes in. I've worked with one. We're still trying to, we raised the first seed round, and we're still trying to build. The product is not even ready, and you're trying to expand to Ghana. Okay, fine. It's a good thing. You're going to Ghana, we're trying to do market research and all that. You're going to stay in a 5-star hotel. You hire the vehicle that will take you around in your meetings with an escort when the product is not ready. You're doing all that with what? Investors' money. So please, if you're going to build anything, let money not be the drive. Let the solution in itself. Let the solution in itself, let vision be the drive. Let a good name be the drive. If you are not here, what will happen? Some people have built Access Bank to what it is. And very soon, or gradually, they are leaving the scene. But Access Bank would stay for a longer time. But we've seen so many startups, we've not even heard the name. It's after they die that we now begin to hear the name. I didn't know there was a startup that was Zazu. It was when he died, I heard of the name, a payment app called Zazu. So we need to be careful in our building. Don't let money be the drive, but let your vision be what drives you. Thank you.
The beauty of speaking second is I can say he has said it all, and I can ride on what he has said. But just to add on top of it is this popular adage that I live by, which is, whatever your hand finds to do, please do it well. The reason why some founders would hire Indians to work with them, sometimes it's not because they hate their fellow Nigerians. It's because of quality of work sometimes. So whether you're an employee, whether you are a founder, whether you're even trying to learn a tech skill, is let excellence be the watchword. If you're going to do something, do it exceptionally well, because the world is watching. Now, there are some of your colleagues who are looking for jobs, and there are some of your colleagues who they are begging to collect job because they are just too good. And you're like, come on, it's like, no, your office is on the island. No, I don't like traffic. I want mainland. And there's someone saying, like, half office in Ekpe, I will check there. Just give me one work. But the difference is what you bring to the table, the value you put in front. And those can only come from the excellent delivery of whatever life throws at you. Second thing is, we all aspire for the big assignments. We all aspire to be up there, to be in an office on the last floor of the building with nice Eco-Atlantic views. But life would always test you with the small tasks. Life will always give you those small assignments. How you do it depends on if you would ever get the big tasks. So whatever your hand finds to do, please do it well, and I wish us all the very best.
Thank you so much. All right, so quickly, we'll be taking Iro Omolola. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Omolola, are you in the audience? Okay. Can someone give her a mic, please? All right, so she's a discussion contributor and should also be giving us a final note as well.
Yeah, good morning. Okay, good morning, everyone. Sorry, yeah, my name is Ivro Mola. So, I think the final words majorly is just, I'll key into what he said last, as to whatever you find yourself doing, do it well, because most times I realize that, especially people in tech space, they just feel that it's one thing to have the skill. Like, the main thing is just for you to have the skill, but beyond the skill, there's this part of not just the core skill as per the art part, but the soft skills, whereby you own the product when you're working. If you have the mindset of the product owner, if you're doing stuff in the company, you do it with all aspect and dignity, to the fact that you want to see the product to the end point. So if you have this mindset and you put in the work majorly, it also gives the founder this assurance and the ability to always look out for people with these kind of skills and soft skills in the space. So I'm majorly putting this information to the techies in the house. When you find yourself doing something, put the aspect of being a product owner in mind to actually actualize the goal of the company and do it well. Thank you.
Wow. That was beautiful. Thank you. All right. So they've all spoken well. Dr. Akim mentioned that let excellence be the drive. Life will test you with small tasks. Don't just aim for the lofty positions. You have to start from somewhere. While Kemal mentioned that don't let money be your only drive. I think one thing he has consistently hammered on is that you should build to last. Try to build scalable businesses, not just because you're hungry and you just want to. Everybody is doing tech startup now, and then there are even some founders that build their products to suit investors, not to suit the audience that they are targeting. And that way, even investors, when they know, they wouldn't want to invest in you. So you need to build something that solves a problem and then that has a product market fit. That is for the founders, by the way. All right, so we've come to the end of this conversation. Thank you so much, Dr. Kim. Thank you so much, Kemal. Thank you so much, our discussion contributor. And we'll be leaving the stage for Deji. Thank you.